Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lesson 2 of book 2 of the language of Qur'an, Easier Than English. In this lesson, our aim and goal primarily is to study the perfect tense, i.e. one of the three main types of verbs in Arabic. It is this verb from which all the other verbs are said to be derived, and it's a very simple one to learn, the foundation of it, inshallah ta'ala. And we will learn how for each verb and the past tense Madi, the perfect tense, there are 14 variations, one for each of the pronouns that we studied before, even from book 1 where we studied the detached Rafa pronouns. Then inshallah we're going to take a very close look at every component of the verb, all the things that are added to the root. The main reason for that is that we want to be able to understand everything that's going on with a perfect tense verb, because every verb that we come across afterwards, every Madi, will have the same suffixes. So if we understand them, we should be able to be in a position to recognize thousands and thousands of verbs in the Arabic language. And above all, inshallah, you will learn how easily to conjugate verb for form 1, which is on the scale of fataha, sami'a, karuma, inshallah ta'ala. So a lot to cover. Again, we'll begin with the blessed name of Allah by saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and making dua, Rabbi zidni ilma, O my Lord, increase me in knowledge. Every verb in the Arabic language has three essential pieces of information. Firstly, we have remember from book 1 that there are only three types of words in Arabic. Every word is either an ismun, fi'lun, or harfun. A verb is a word that describes an action, always in reference to a tense. If it does not have a tense, it is not a verb. It can describe an action, but it will not be a verb unless it has a tense. This is a very important definition, inshallah. So the three pieces of information that we see in every verb in Arabic, number 1, it will have the meaning of the action. So for example, here, in Arabic, I have fatahtu, which translates into English, I opened. So the action is to open. That is a basic action. So the first thing a verb will have is the 3 root letters, which will give us the name of the action or the action itself. Then we have the doer. Every verb, please make a note of this, every verb will have a doer in the form of a pronoun. In the example that I have here is fatahtu, I opened. Of course, the third information very easily we can decipher from this is that this is the past tense. Again, how do I know that in the Arabic? Because of the scale. Once you recognize the scale, you'll be able to recognize a past tense, Madi, and the doer for any verb that you come across, even though you may or may not know the meaning of the root, which you can look up in the dictionary, but you can definitely identify that this is the pronoun, and this is the root letters, and it's in the past tense. Of course, later on we'll look at the present and future tenses called al-mudari, and also the command form. So these three pieces of information are in every verb. Of course, there's a lot more we can go into, but these three are absolutely critical. So a verb in Arabic always has a tense. It is expresses an action, occurrence, a state, or a being. And it has a very rich system, as I mentioned, that everyone has a pronoun. So we will know from the tense, the number, the person doing the action is a singular, dual, or plural. Is it the first person, i.e. me, speaking, or we? Or is it they, or he, or she, which is the third person, or you, which is the second person? So the three main tenses in Arabic are, firstly, al-Madi or al-fi'l al-Madi, the perfect tense verb. I'm going to translate it as perfect tense because even though it is very similar to the English past tense, it has some other connotation in it. So nasara means he helped. The translation in the past tense, actions already been done. So in Arabic, it's called the perfect tense because it describes an action that is complete at the time of speaking, or more importantly, we'll see exceptions for this also, inshallah, an action that is certain to be done, meaning it will be done. It's so certain to be done that they use the past tense scale. So its better translation is the perfect tense. In definition, an action that is certain to be done or has been done at the time of speaking. And this is al-Madi. Madin without the al-Madi, the perfect tense. So al-fi'l al-Madi, the perfect tense verb. Then we have the imperfect tense. Now, imperfect tense in English can be translated as present, present continuous, as well as the future tense. So we have here yansuru, which means in Arabic, translated into English, he helps, he is helping, or he will help. All three can be included in here. Of course, how do you tell the difference? In context of how they're used. So it is the present habitual, present continuous, as well as the future tense. All three incorporated into al-mudari, and therefore I'm going to refer to it as the imperfect tense. Imperfect tense, please note. Then we have the command. Command is when I command or request or appeal to you to do something. This is called imperative. So again, the version of that for this particular root, unsur, help. Unsur, help. So in English, I've translated with the exclamation mark. So it's called the imperative command or request form. These are the three primary categories in terms of conjugation, as well as in formation of the three main categories of verbs. Of course, I mentioned in the introduction, there is the passive, there is the active, there's also the prohibition, etc. But they usually are a derivation of these. So if you get these three, you've got the major parts, inshallah ta'ala. So again, there are only three categories as far as tense is concerned: Al-Madi, the perfect; Al-Mudari, the imperfect; and also the imperative. We are going to begin our study by looking at the perfect tense verb. Al-Madi, perfect tense verb. Example, nasara, he helped. An action that has been done or certain to be done. We have the scale of it for the thulathi mujarrad. Please note, again, go back to the introduction video. I'm going to be talking primarily about this one until we get to that level, inshallah. It's very basic. It has only three root letters. The first root letter is represented by the letter fa. The second root letter is represented by ain. And the third root letter is represented by lam. So the first, second, and third. Please note, for the past tense, al-madi, the first root letter is fixed. It will always have a fataha. And the last root letter will always have a fataha. But the middle root letter can have a variation. So it can have a fataha, which is zabar, or zair, or kasra, or dhamma, which is pesh. These are the names also given to it. So you have fatha, zabar, dhamma, pesh, or kasra, zair. For all the middle root letter only, the first and the last is fixed. So the scale is very easy to recognize. It is three root letters and nothing else. So this group that we are studying now is called thulathi, meaning three, mujarrad, bare, nothing else. Thulathi mujarrad. And for the madi, it's a very simple scale. So the only variation we will see is whether the middle root letter takes a fatha, dhamma, or kasra for the standard verb, which is the active, not the passive form, which we will look at, inshallah ta'ala, in forthcoming lesson. So this leads to three possibilities. Of course, you can see first, second root letter. With the changes in the second root letter, we can have fa'ala scale. So we have here two examples. Fataha, he opened. Nasara, he helped. Nasara, he helped. The second possibility, we can have fa'ila, fa'ila. So we have sami'a, sami'a, he heard. Alima, he knew. So Samia and Alima, they follow the fa'ila scale. Then we have the third possibility where the middle root letter takes a pesh or dhamma. We have fa'ula, and of course is karuma. So these are the three possible scales. Middle root letter being the variation. So fa'ala, fa'ila, fa'ula. All past tense verb for form 1 will conform to one of these three scales, and it is from there that we will conjugate. Now the question you're going to ask me is, how do I know which is which? You don't. The way to get it is from the dictionary or to look at an example. Very soon you'll be able to recognize them easily, but for now we need to know which root goes through where, what it produces. We cannot produce words on our own. We got to go to the words that are already been used. Of course, this is relatively easy for us because our job is not to produce the language. Our job is to understand and recognize. So of course, when we see the verbs in this scale, we know that it is the form 1 and it is the past tense. So this is the base form of the three root letter verb. Now, if you recall, going back to book 1, lesson number 5 onwards, I did emphasize to you the importance of learning the pronouns. So we'll be using the pronouns, inshallah ta'ala, here in this course to learn verbs. And I mentioned there, if you learn them well, you will be able to reproduce the verbs lot quicker. So the 14 pronouns that I asked you to learn then, they're relatively easy, inshallah. I hope you've memorized. If you haven't, please go back and do memorize them. They're going to be very useful for your study. So we have huwa, we have huma, then we have hum. Then we have hiya, she, huma, hunna. Then we have anta, antuma, antum. And then we have anti, antuma, antunna. Then of course we have ana and nahnu. So there will be a verb in the position of each of these pronouns. 14 verbs representing 14 pronouns within it, and that's why I have numbered this table between 1 and 14. Please follow my instruction, follow this order. It will remove a lot of confusion, especially when we go to mudari, if you stick to this order. I know there are other ways of learning. You start with the first person first. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying it's wrong. All I'm saying is it will be easier for you to understand the conjugation, in my view, if you follow this method. So we have 14 pronouns that we will now replace each one with a verb on the root. Please know we don't need to use the pronoun in there because the pronoun is already embedded within the verb in its meaning, and in most cases with something to indicate that that is the pronoun we are referring to. So we have a table here, inshallah ta'ala, where you can see the most important thing. I'm going to put the pronouns back in. Now you can see on the table, huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu. I left a little line there to know how you can translate in there, but this is the pronoun. Now you will see another box underneath, which has, for example, in this one, you will see I've got here written huwa, and I've got mustatir. Here I've got huma, I got alif. Hum, I got wow. Please don't worry, I'll explain all of this in detail. So I've designed this table now to simplify your learning. At this stage, it's not available for you to download, but inshallah, very soon there will be a website where you can download from, and the link will be in the description. So as soon as the site is up and running, I will put it in the description, inshallah ta'ala. I just haven't had, I was relying on somebody else to do it, but it's not been done yet. As soon as it's done, inshallah, I will let you know. So if you are asking for these forms that you're going to see in this video and subsequent, please continue to check the description, and I'll put the link there. I apologize in advance. I didn't want to hold the videos any longer and just release them. So that's the reason. But you'll get this form. I designed it to help you to learn conjugation very, very easily. So I'll explain each of these, inshallah ta'ala, but this will help you. Few other points before I put the verbs and things in that you need to note is that each verb will have 14 different forms. So in effect, I'm going to replace the pronoun and put the verb here for each one. Each of these 14 forms are going to be, within them, they're going to have this pronoun here. For example, wow will represent hum. And then nun with a fatha will represent hunna. And tum will represent antum. And these will be suffixes added to the verb. So we'll have 14 variation of the same verb. And this is very, very important and major distinction between English and Arabic. Each form has a very technical name in Arabic. They have like al-ghaib, mutakallim, etc., etc. And then you have the singular, dual, and plural version of it, etc. And these are all very difficult at the beginning to memorize, these terminology. I feel that the numbering system will be a lot easier for you. Once you've learned the code, you can easily go back and memorize them. And I don't believe that memorizing lots of terminology at the beginning is going to give you any benefit. Most likely, most students will run away. So please forgive me. I'm going to use this method instead. I'm going to call them sigha, each one. Okay, it's called a sigha, and each one I'm going to number them. And your brain will soon, inshallah ta'ala, 1 to 14 in this order. And this is why I taught you the pronouns in this order. I hope and I pray you will stick to this order. Again, I'm not saying another order is wrong, but this is a lot easier. So you have 14 pronouns in 14 boxes, and then we'll have 14 verbs in those 14 boxes. Each box is numbered, called a sigha. Most important is 1 and 4, and that's why I've highlighted it in black. But each one in the past tense, you'll have the doer embedded within the verb, and that is represented by something which is colored in red, and the pronoun that it represents comes first. So everything's covered in one sheet, so you don't have to make lots of notes. As long as you understand it, this will become your reference point, inshallah ta'ala. Conjugation of the perfect tense al-Madi on the scale of fa'ala, fa'ala. We're now going to conjugate 14 forms of the verb fataha, which means he opened. Please note the 3 root letters are fa, ta, and ha. I'm going to go through relatively slowly. So again, this has the risk of making the video long, and a lot of people comment they want short videos. But I really am not here to entertain you. I'm here to make sure that you're learning as much as I can give you within the resources that I have in front of me. So forgive me if the videos are too long, and if you find them wrong, please come back. You can always pause and restart. It's not a problem, and I've got timestamps throughout the video, inshallah, so you can forward to that position. So let's conjugate first. If I do it slowly, and please make sure as you're doing it, you have some form of writing in front of you. A white, not a blank sheet, but ruled book or notebook or a blank sheet of paper. It doesn't really matter what it is, in which you can replicate what I'm writing on the screen. It will be good, not on the first time, but the second time you do it, to use different colors that I will be using, inshallah ta'ala, or you can choose your own color system. But most important, so that the points highlight in your brain and it remains there, inshallah ta'ala, in your heart, so you can recall that information relatively quickly. So I want to say first, he opened. The hint of what I'm saying is inside the box, which is here. You can see he opened. Originally, of course, you know, huwa was there in the box before, huwa, he. So of course, we want the verb for that, and it's the very simple verb. The scale is fa'ala. So fataha, fataha. As you can see, the scale at the top, fa'ala, and just put fatha, fatha, fatha. Middle root letter takes a fatha. Now I want to say, I said huwa fataha, I want to say huma. Now I don't need to repeat huwa fataha, because an Arab person knows fataha means he opened, is already inbuilt within his brain, as well as he knows that from the scale. I want to say huma. Now huma is fataha, the same root, and I will now put on it fataha. So we got our 3 root letters with the fatha, 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 but the huma version has an alif. This alif represents huma. So from now on, you'll say, what is the doer? You'll say alif. What does it mean? Huma. So again, I put it here for your easy reference. Next, I want to say hum. Hum. Hum is actually represented by wow. Wow. So this wow here is the pronoun that's doing the action. And what is this wow represented? Hum. So I got to add wow to my root. So I got fa, ta, ha. I add the wow. Now the wow prefers, this wow is sukun, does not have any vowels on it. So the wow with sukun prefers to have a dhamma in front. So what happens is that the wow with sukun prefers to have a dhamma in front, so it becomes fatahu. 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 So the only reason why the ha is taking a dhamma instead of fatha is because of the wow. One more very important point. When we have 3 root letters, let's say, for example, wajada, wajada, wa, ja, and da. Now imagine Arabic is not written with vowel signs, right? So normal Arabic, modern standard, is not written like this. If I wanted to say wajadu, for example, I put wow there. This wow has the risk of being confused with the wow of A and D, and, right? Because there's no vowel signs, and dal does not allow you to join anything after it. So there'll be a space. Some people may confuse that with wow of and. So they will read it and misjudge it. For that reason, after this version, version number 3 of hum, there is an extra alif added. This alif has no value in terms of doer or anything like this. Simply is called the alif of protection, and it protects the wow being confused with the wow of and. So we have 2 additions there. The wow, which represents hum, and then extra alif to protect that wow from being mistaken. So let me color the wow with red so we can easily identify the doer. So we have fataha, he opened. Fataha, huma opened. They opened. Fatahu, hum opened. As in they, masculine plural, opened. Now I want to say here, she opened, which is our number 4. I got my fataha. The she opened is exactly the same as fataha, except I added ta at the end. which has a sukoon. Please note this ta has a sukoon. There is no vowel on it. And this time I'm going to color in purple, inshallah ta'ala. So it is fatahat. Please note, fataha, there is nothing added here to indicate it is huwa. So it is called mustatir in Arabic. I'll explain that later, which means hidden. Same is the case with here. So the ta is not here. Ta is just telling me it's feminine. That's all. So it is not the masculine. It is the feminine version of the verb. So fataha, we translate as he opened. Fatahat, she opened. This she part is not represented by the ta. It's just the fact that it tells us it's feminine. The doer is hidden. Please note that with number 1 and number 4. Now we come to number 5, which is again the feminine version of huma. So we go to fa, fatahat. Same. So we got our feminine here as well. And then the huma is represented by alif. So here the alif represents the doer, but the ta represents feminine. Ta represents feminine and the alif represents the huma version. Now alif prefers to have a fatha before, so it becomes, instead of sukoon, fatahata, not fatahat, like this, because you can't elongate the sound there. So it's fatahata. Please note that. Okay, so the ta is the same ta as we got in number 4, but here we are adding a fatha to it in order to accommodate the alif that is coming after. Now the next one is hunna version. Hunna version. Again, I have got my 3 root letters. And then we add na. The noon fatha na here represents the doer. So hunna is represented by na. Noon fatha. That's it. The ha from now on will start taking a sukoon. So for number 6 onwards till number 14, the ha will not have any vowel. It will take a sukoon. Now there is a reason for that. It's because the rest of the rest of the doers, I should say, you'll see them added, have a vowel sign on them. That is the reason why we have the sukoon. Fatahna, not fatahana. Okay, fatahna. Please note that, and this will be the case. You don't need to know that. All you need to remember is from number 6 onwards, the rest are very easy because the 3rd root letter has a sukoon and then you add simply a suffix to the end. So I want to now say you, as in, of course, in Arabic, we have 3 different you for masculine and we have 3 different for feminine. All of them in English will be translated as you, but in Arabic, there is a difference. So I want to say anta. I will say fatah. Can you see how easy that is? Fatahta, anta, fatahta. It almost rhymes. So it's very easy to remember. Anta, fatahta. So the ta bit is representing for me anta. So again, antuma will be represented very easily by fatahtuma. I hope you can probably now start guessing the rest of them very easily. So antum will be fatahtum. Antum fatahtum. And anti fatahti. I hope and pray, inshallah ta'ala, that this is all clear to you. Fatahtuma, antuma, fatahtuma. Okay? It's the same as the feminine and masculine version. Fatah, antunna is fatah. If you guessed it already, well done. Fatahtunna. Ana fatahtu. Nahnu fatahna. So that's it. That's your 14 conjugation. The column below in highlighted yellow-ish has the details of all the changes. And these suffixes that you see is exactly the same in every past tense, al-Madi, perfect tense verb. And these are the ones you need to recognize. Quick overview, inshallah ta'ala. The red ones represent for us the doer, who's actually doing the action. It's a pronoun. So you don't need to repeat the pronoun in Arabic, it is already there. The purple is there to indicate that this is feminine. It's just a sign of femininity. And of course, we have the extra alif, which is on this one. And from number 6 onwards, all of them have sukoon on the third root letter. The conjugation of them is very quick and very fast, and you can always see it in rhythm. So let me repeat one more time, inshallah ta'ala. First, I'm going to do it with the pronoun. So it sticks in your head, then I'm going to do it without the pronoun. So I say, huwa fataha, huma fataha, hum fatahu, hiya fatahat, huma fatahata, hunna fatahna, anta fatahta, antuma fatahtuma, antum fatahtum, anti fatahti, antuma fatahtuma, antunna fatahtunna, ana fatahtu, nahnu fatahna. You can get rid of the pronoun because it's already there. We can simply say fataha, fataha, fatahu, fatahat, fatahata, fatahna, fatahta, fatahtuma, fatahtum, fatahti, fatahtuma, fatahtunna, fatahtu, fatahna. That's your 14. I hope and pray you write them slowly using the coloring system, this one or something else you like, so you can distinguish the parts. And please note, inshallah ta'ala, that the 3 root letters are there right throughout. They remain in the order that they are, and the vowel changes are, I've already explained to you what they are. Most important is number 1, from which you can conjugate all the others. Once you've learnt it well, you can go backward, forwards, everywhere. You can recognize one of them. You can say that, oh, they belong to this box, therefore I can conjugate the rest from it, and I can translate it correctly. So my dear brothers and sisters, this is the table, exactly the same one, with the suffixes that we have added to the verbs, or to the roots, I should say, to form the 14 different sighas that we have, number 1 to 14. I'm going to quickly repeat again. I do apologize if it's too many repetition, but make sure that you understand what's going on. So the red bits are representing the pronoun. Number 1 and number 4, there is nothing representing the pronoun. The doer, the pronoun is hidden in as far as the scale is concerned, but you will translate as he, as huwa or hiya, depending on the context that you are translating into. Number 1 and number 4 we'll cover later in more detail, are the most important, because after that there is a possibility of a noun coming as a doer. As far as all of them, there's already pronoun there. Otherwise, number 1 and number 4 could have a noun after the doer. So this table, inshallah ta'ala, is going to be made available to you. I apologize, I can't do it on YouTube, but I will be having a website very soon, bi'idhnillah, and I will put the link in the description. I ask for your patience. One of the reasons for delay of releasing these videos was that I just couldn't get the video website done on time. As soon as it is ready, you will find some of these notes, inshallah ta'ala, especially these forms and things which you need to practice with. I will put them. So as soon as they're done, you will just look at the description, inshallah ta'ala, and I'll put the link there. Long as there's no issues on YouTube to do that, you'll find the website, which is inshallah ta'ala is on the first stages of being developed. For lesson by lesson, there will be some notes and things to help you, A, to practice, B, to revise, and some of the forms and things that I'm sharing with you, which I'll be sharing with you inshallah ta'ala on the link. So please forgive me, bear with me, but in the meantime, you can take a screenshot of this and rewrite it inshallah on your computer. Even by hand is perfect, just long as you're practicing, inshallah. So in conclusion, these are the suffixes you're going to see in every Madi verb at the end, and you'll recognize the verb, its sigha, where it is, who the doer is, from the ending. I'm going to conjugate one more for you, inshallah ta'ala, just to show you that this is how easy it is. As long as you're following the steps, you should be able to do that, inshallah. So now we have another verb that we're going to conjugate, and just to show you that it's exactly the same step. So instead of having fa, ta, ha, we have noon, sad, and ra. Nasara, nasara. So how are we going to do that one? So first is nasara, nasara. Huma version will be nasara with the alif at the end. Hum version nasaru and alif at the end. Okay, you can see that for protection. Exactly what we did in the previous one. What should this one be? Try and guess before I write it. Nasara. And we have the ta at the end, which is your sign of femininity. And then we have na, sa, ra, and the huma is represented by the alif. Nasarata, and of course we have hunna version, which will be nasar. And again, from now on, the third root letter will take a sukun, nasarna. So let's quickly go. Nasara, nasara, nasaru, nasarat, nasarata, nasarna. Now we want to do the second person. So anta will be, remember the third root letter from now on is sukun. Nasar, ta. And then we have na, sar, tu, ma. And then we have na, sar, tum, na, sar, for anti, nasar, ti. Then we have na, sar, tuma, and na, sar, tunna. So we have here nasarta, nasartuma, nasartum, nasarti, nasartuma, nasartunna. Again, all of them from number 6 onwards, sukun on the third root letter. Then we have here nasartu, nasarna. So you can see, alhamdulillah, exactly the same as what we did previously. And this is how you will conjugate every single madi in the past tense. So brothers and sisters, here is the full one. You can take a screenshot of that if you like, where the colors are also there. Inshallah, I didn't put colors in the previous one. It would have taken me too long to type, but you can see it very clearly here. There is no difference between this one and the fataha version that we did earlier. Now what I'd like you to do is conjugate dhahaba. Dhahaba, exactly the same scale. Fa'ala, which you can see at the top, the root letter dhahaba means to go somewhere. Nasara was to help. This one to go. So we have exactly the same principles as we had before. Let's quickly do this one. I've already done it. I'm just going to show you what they are. But please make sure you practice fataha, nasara, and dhahaba. So we have here, first of all, dhahaba, dhahaba, dhahabu, dhahabat, dhahabata, dhahabna, dhahabta, dhahabtuma, dhahabtum, dhahabti, dhahabtuma, dhahabtunna, dhahabtu, dhahabna. So you can see here, inshallah ta'ala, all the conjugation is exactly the same. So you've got 3 verbs, fataha, nasara, daraba. Every other verb that follows this scale of fa'ala will be 100% identical. The only difference will be the 3 root letters. Once you learn to conjugate one, you can conjugate 1,000. Very simple principle, inshallah ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, we've had an overview of the perfect tense verb. We've also learned how to conjugate the madi. So we've done these 2 steps of our lesson. There are 2 more, inshallah ta'ala, and we will see in the second video, inshallah, the other points. I'm going to go detail into the madi, give you all the information that you need, inshallah, so that you learn it once and you don't have to learn it again and again. Provided you learn the practice, the knowledge will be inside, and then you can tackle advanced grammar. It is where, here I believe, a lot of the time we skip through this. We simply learn, we memorize parrot fashion, which is good, but then we don't understand what's going on, and when we get to advanced stuff, we get stuck. So if we do this slowly, please forgive me, the videos are long and quite tedious at times. I apologize for that, and I repeat that these videos are not there for some just watching for the sake of watching, or even learning by watching. Is for you to interact with, and therefore if I go slowly, inshallah, you can go very fast in your studies. So the slower I go, the better it is, and I'm trying to keep a balance with the length of the video. Please do give your feedback, what's working and what's not, and inshallah I will try to accommodate where possible. So in the second part of the video, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to pick up on this one. And we're going to pick up on the conjugation of sami'a and karuma. We've done the other 2. So we're going to look at the middle root letter changing with a kasra and a dhamma. And then afterwards, inshallah ta'ala, in the following lesson, we will go through the grammar rules where you can start using this perfect tense. Again, jazakumullah khairan for watching. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you with the very best in this world and the hereafter. For your support and your continuous dua, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Do continue to like, share, subscribe, and as well as give us feedback on what is working. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you with the very best in this world and in the hereafter. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.